Um, I'm going to briefly address post-harvest handling and ways that Green Tree Naturals facilitates food safety on our farm. And I'm going to focus primarily on greens. I know a lot of you are livestock people, but if you are a grower, you're probably growing greens. So just a quick overview of what we do for our processing area or our processing of greens. It is outside the house. We set up a shade house screened tent that is about a 10 by 10, which keeps the produce and us out of direct sun and keeps the insects mostly out. I say mostly because when you're coming in and out and open the doors, the mosquitoes tend to come in, but it mostly keeps them out. And the tent also keeps the dogs and cats out of the processing area. I think for post-harvest handling, cooling the produce quickly after harvest is crucial, and keeping it cool, I know, minimizes the bacteria. So think about that when you're harvesting. As soon as you harvest anything in the field, it starts to deteriorate. Leafy greens start to wilt, squash starts to sweat. We use these 18-gallon size Rubbermaid tubs to soak and clean our produce immediately after harvest. And we mostly use the tubs for our leafy greens. We wear rubber gloves when we're doing the processing just because the water is ice cold straight from the well. On harvest days, we always begin by cleaning and sanitizing the tubs with a bleach solution. We do this every time we use the tubs. We use a regular Clorox bleach water ratio for cleaning, which is the recommendation is 1 tablespoon of bleach per gallon of water, which works out to be about a cup of bleach per 18-gallon rubber tub. I did ask Colette to, I sent a handout on which will be on the Moodle site that basically goes through just what's the difference between cleaning and disinfecting, and it really goes into some details about that, so I encourage you to review that. But we use the same solution for cleaning out our salad spinner and the sink that we use for the final rinse of the leafy veggies. And after the tubs have been cleaned, then we fill them with ice cold water. We talk about documentation, and you can keep it as simple as you want as long as you document it. I keep a little pocket spiral notebook out in the processing area and document each time that we clean and sanitize. I write the date, I say what we did, and I keep track of that. That goes with that point of negligence that we talked about with insurance the other day. We do have metal frames set up for the tubs, so they're not actually on the ground. In this picture, they're on the ground, but they're not. They're off the ground now. And we have a large commercial sink that we use for the last rinse cycle of our produce. But the key is, as soon as we harvest, we bring it up and put it in the cold water. This commercial size salad spinner is a 5-gallon size. We have this set up next to the table after the last wash cycle, and once the greens are spun dry, they go into a new clean kitchen garbage bag, and then we put them immediately into a commercial size refrigerator on the porch of our house to keep the greens cool. And then when we go to weigh the bags out, we bring those bags into our kitchen, and we have another sterilized tubs that we pour the bag in, we weigh it out, we bag it up, and then we return them to the refrigerator. And when we put them in the refrigerator, we make sure that they have plenty of room around them for, you don't stuff it in there. You want to keep air circulation going. That's really important. And then when we take it from that refrigerator to market, the greens are transported in 26 to 30-gallon size coolers, where we use blue ice on the bottom of the cooler, and then we have a thin styrofoam piece sitting on top of the blue ice so it doesn't come in contact with whatever we happen to be transporting, primarily the greens for that, but most of our produce is in a cooler. And then I wanted to take us to the farmer's market on this. and this photo here, and I'm focusing on the greens because they are more susceptible to wilting, which means they transpire and they have a higher potential for bacterial growth. And it's so important to keep your produce cool from the farm to the market, and keep it cool at the market if you can. And I'm sure you figured this out, but certain vegetables can be harmed if they come in direct contact with ice, so you need to read up on that. And in this slide you can see that the lettuce is displayed on top of blue ice that's been covered with a towel, so it doesn't come in direct contact with the ice, but it keeps the lettuces cool while they're setting out for the customers to shop. And only a portion of the product is set out at a time. The rest is kept in an ice chest next to the display table. So that's a good idea with pretty much any type of produce that you're doing. And then I included this on eggs because I know a number of you sell eggs at the farmers market. And to stay with the food safety guidelines, the best way to display your eggs is to simply have an empty egg carton out on your table with a sign, and then get a cool dozen out as requested, because maintaining a consistent cool temperature is critical to the safety of eggs. And when I was looking, kind of reviewing this a little bit, I found a fantastic website today, and I didn't get a chance to get it on this slide, but it's just called eggsafety.org, www.eggsafety.org, all one word, and it has everything you could ever think about on eggs. So I moved through that really quickly, but I just wanted to be able to cover a little bit about post-harvest handling and let you know that don't be intimidated by this. It just goes along with all the regulation things. We can keep it as simple as possible, but as farmers, truly, we need to make every effort to provide a safe food to our customers. And we need to be able to do this from the moment we harvest to the time our food reaches our customers. So truly, food safety truly begins on the farm. You have excellent resources, so you want to use them. So I went through that really quick, but I think it's more important that we hear from these wonderful people to tell us about the GAPS and the GAPS audit. And I'm going to give this over to Todd, unless Colette wants to say a few words.
I do want to introduce Todd. Melissa, did we have any quick questions for Diane, or?
Not yet. So again, I just want to reiterate, if you have questions, post them on the website tomorrow, on the course website starting tomorrow. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, I want to introduce Todd. Thank you for being here tonight. Todd works for USDA as a federal program manager in the Northwest Territory, which consists of Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, Montana, and Washington. Prior to working for USDA, he worked for the Oregon Department of Agriculture as a supervisor and inspector for 14 years. He's been a licensed USDA auditor since 2007. As one of our 2 regional federal program managers in the Northwest, he works with all of the federal state auditors within the territory, which is approximately 100 auditors. And all of the audits that are completed are sent to their office for review prior to being sent on to Washington, D.C. for a certificate and web posting. So with that, Todd, thank you for being on tonight, and we look forward to learning about the GAPS program and the GAPS audit verification.